Welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. So, what happens if Thanksgiving goes right? The conversation is flowing, people are happy and engaged. Everyone has shared their points of gratitude as they reflect on the year that has been. The turkey is succulent and perfectly cooked. The sides are beautiful, colorful, and fully consumed. But what happens if Thanksgiving goes horribly wrong? Your house burns to the ground and it's your fault. You don't want that to happen. I definitely don't want that to happen. And my next guest certainly doesn't want that to happen because he has been there, he has seen it, and he is here with a few tips on how you shouldn't burn your house down and ways you can actually prevent catastrophe. David Morales joins me. He's a spokesperson / a member of Firefighters Association of the state of New York, FASNY, and he's also a lieutenant in upstate New York with the Getzville Fire Department. David Morales, welcome to Kennedy Saves the World.
Thanks for having me, Kennedy.
So I'm going to be honest with you. We are going to try to deep fry a turkey tomorrow. I've never done it. Supposedly, one family member has done it. He has the turkey frying apparatus and the oil. But what can go wrong deep frying a turkey, and how often does it go south?
Well, I'll start off by saying that Thanksgiving is the top day of the year. 3 times more than the daily average are there cooking fires on Thanksgiving compared to every other day. So you're already starting the day on a much more elevated, heightened sense of danger. But deep frying a turkey, especially a frozen turkey, is where the real danger comes in. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, but there's a lot of things that can go right, including a delicious turkey. And all you really need to do is follow a couple steps if you really insist on deep frying your turkey.
Okay, what do people do wrong? How does the bird explode?
So the number one thing you see when the firefighters do that demonstration where they dunk the turkey and all of a sudden there's flames going everywhere,
Yeah.
it's they've put too much oil in whatever container that they're doing. So the turkey comes in, obviously there's displacement of that oil. If the oil overflows and it makes contact with a flame or another type of flame, that's where you're going to get that big burst of fire that's coming out. Short of that, you're also going to get burns from hot oil, even if the oil itself doesn't ignite. And if you're not outside, if you're on your porch or in your garage, then you're going to be looking at a pretty serious fire.
And how quickly does it leave your control? Like, how
I
quickly
mean,
does it spread to the point where you could have 5 fire extinguishers and they won't do it?
it would take a moment. I mean, honestly, for things to get out of your own control, the reaction time to grab an extinguisher, even if you have somebody there next to you with the extinguisher in hand, the moment that that oil catches and goes, you would be superhuman to be able to stop that. The moment a frozen turkey hits that hot oil,
Hmm.
the frozen water turns to steam, and that helps displace some more of that oil. So not only the
Wow.
turkey itself coming in displaces the oil, but the steam forcing the oil out. So you may think,
It's
oh,
like
I tested it
sublimation.
with a cold oil. Yeah, I mean, you really, really aren't going to be prepared when that goes up.
That's so exciting. I mean, there's so much adventure and danger in deep frying a turkey. It'll be that much more satisfying if it turns out well for us. And if it doesn't, like this conversation is going to ring in my head for decades, and it's going to make me really, really sad. So, there are 3 ways we could go about cooking the turkey this year, and there are 3 basically warring factions within my family. One is Emily Campagno's dad's method, which is, cook the turkey at 500 degrees. A 10-pound bird will only take about 40 minutes because you got to flip it in the middle, 20 minutes each side. He swears by that method. I was going to go for the tried and true, roasted at 325, herb butter in the skin, nice 2-day brine, and, give that a whirl for maybe 2.5 hours with a good 45 minutes of resting where I can cook the stuffing and the sweet potato casserole. And then there's the deep frying faction, the adventure seekers in the family who are like, we got this. We've done this before. We know how to deep fry a bird. Things could go wrong. Things have gone sideways in my family in the past. So what's from your professional point of view? And also firefighters, notoriously wonderful chefs. So which road do I pick? Because I still have time to diverge.
I mean, we really always suggest to use something that's much safer than deep frying. The risk reward may be a little too great for some people. If you insist on deep frying a turkey, the one thing I will always say is that no turkey is the same. There may be different pockets, there may be different amounts of frozen water on the
Mm,
turkey. So whether this is your 50th or your first deep frying turkey,
mm,
you're not really 100% aware of what's going to happen. You can be prepared for what can happen, but there may be more steam coming off than the last year and things like that.
mm,
That is to say, there will be danger involved in any way of cooking a turkey, no matter what you choose to do.
That makes me scratch my chin and go, like perhaps it's not worth it to go down that road.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
I don't want to see anything caught on fire. I just want the best tasting bird. So, in your experience as a firefighter, you've been doing this job for many years. You represent firefighters, so you've talked to a lot of people who've cooked because you guys have to work on Thanksgiving. So, you know the secret. So, what is the secret with your firehouse culinary expertise?
I will say the secret is probably you said route number two. I think that seems to be a really great popular method that goes. I can't speak for myself with deep frying turkey. I've never personally done it.
Hmm.
I do know that FASNY usually tends to steer people away from doing it because, like I said, the risk is a little too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, just a good old turkey in an oven,
Mm.
can't go wrong with it.
No, and I do love a good brine. And I have to know, can you brine a turkey before you deep fry it?
Yeah, you could prepare a turkey any way you want. You could brine it, you could not brine it. I mean, the real danger comes in the displacement of the oil. It's not so
Mm.
much the turkey
See, and I
itself
think what
as it is
happens
the oil and
is
handling the oil.
yeah, and I think there are people who really don't have a good grasp of physics, and they think the more oil the better. That they want as much hot oil as possible, and they're not taking into account displacement, which is a very important factor. And I
That's the
could
number one
see,
thing.
yeah, I could see where that could go wrong pretty quickly. How else do people burn down their houses or start big kitchen fires on Thanksgiving other than the deep fried turkey? Is it cooking
Well,
too
I
many
mean,
things at once?
even if you're cooking a turkey in an oven, you're at a holiday scenario. You've got a lot of kids, a lot of family, a lot of things happening more than the usual evening at your house.
Hmm.
There's a ton of distraction. Unattended cooking is the leading cause of cooking fires in the home.
Oh,
So you've got kids running, you're leaving your house, you're going in this, you're going in the garage, you're going out of the kitchen. You should never leave something that's cooking unattended because you're not going to be there when something goes wrong.
yeah, it's a great point. You don't know. And this is something that I would do. Like, I would be like, oh my gosh, I forgot to dry the towels. Everyone's going to be here in 45 minutes. And then I go downstairs to throw the towels in the dryer and I end up folding the stuff that's already in the dryer. And then, once I'm down there, I realize, like, well, I could give the guest bathroom a quick once over and, get in there, pull out the Clorox wipes. And, well, as long as I'm doing that, I might as well put on the rubber gloves and, spray some Clorox bleach spray on the shower floor and, really get everything ready. And by that time, I've completely forgotten that I've got something cooking on the stove. And, that's very true. It's very easy to get pulled out of the moment when you're cooking so many things because that is the hardest thing about preparing Thanksgiving. It's getting the timing for everything down. Anyone who's prepared a Thanksgiving meal knows that. Like, you could have the best intentions, you could have the best timeline, you could have strategized everything. And, still the bird's sitting there for too long. The mashed potatoes get cold and lumpy, and the turkey gravy doesn't quite have it sizzled that it normally does because it's just very, very hard to choreograph all of these things. What made you want to become a firefighter?
Well, I've been a firefighter for going on 13 years now. I've never really wanted to do it as a child. I didn't have anybody doing it in my family. I'll tell you, I had a dead end job, and every single day going to and from work, I would pass my local fire company, which is where I currently am, Getzville Fire Company.
In
And
Getzville?
just looking for, yes, Getzville, looking for a way to break out of the monotony of my life at that time, I found myself talking to a firefighter that happened to be there with the truck bay doors open. And by the time I left, I'd filled out an application to be a volunteer firefighter. One of the best things I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh, that's great. So you are a volunteer firefighter. Do you do anything else for a day job?
For a day job, I do PR for a local school district.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's amazing. And, my brother's a cop, and I feel like the ongoing war between cops and firefighters has to come to a stalemate here at some point. Do you think this Thanksgiving is the time that we finally bridge the divide among our first
Yeah, and I'll
responders?
tell you, if a police officer lights his house on fire on Thanksgiving, we're going to be there.
And my brother likes to say, and the cops will be there to tell the firefighters it's safe to go inside.
After they park in front of the fire hydrant.
And get ticketed and have the jaws of life used on their patrol cars. Well, you certainly have given me so much to think about. I'm going to report back to you and let you know what we choose. Whatever the case, I hope, the hand of God, the providential hand of God is upon us, and there are no blazes of our making. And the only thing we make is delicious turkey with some incredible sides. So everyone is happy, everyone's bellies are full, and the only complaint we had is they just ate too much.
Sounds like a good night to me.
Oh, David Morales, well, best of luck to you and your family and your firefighting family. Thank you for the tips, and I will let you know how it goes, my friend.
Thank you. The only thing I would leave you with is make sure you have working smoke detectors in your home. Smoke detectors are the first line of defense. You should be testing them monthly, and there are new types of smoke detectors out there that have internal batteries, so you don't have to swap the batteries every 6 months.
Ooh.
You just throw the unit out after 10 years.
That is great to know. That is a piece of fantastic advice that I didn't even know we would stumble upon, but that is very, very good news. My smoke detector in my apartment is so sensitive. It goes off every time I cook bacon. And, it's like, it's a little bit too much of a nervous Nelly. So maybe I can have the building swap them out for those 10-year smoke alarms, which might do a better job and be slightly less annoying. David Morales, Getzville Fire Department and spokesperson for FASNY. Thank you so much for your help.
Hope I don't see you, Kennedy. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Amen, unless I'm driving by and waving. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with the Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.